Scrappy Kitchen, episode 15 Switchbacks, in which Magda returns with updates on the business plan. Done. The tomatoes. Abundant. And the visa. In flames. Lol. Hello. I'm here. I'm fine. I'm tired. Welcome to Scrappy Kitchen, the podcast and newsletter where I, intermittently, talk about running a farm, starting a farm, and growing good food in this mixed up climate. For a moment there, as my partner and I ventured up north to drink wine and swim in the lakes and not work for 4 days, it felt like autumn. The air chilled, the leaves began their tantalising dance of changing colours, and I got a glimpse of rest. And now it's 32 degrees Celsius. Will there ever be a newsletter/podcast installment where I don't talk about how the climate is changing? Not bloody likely. But it has been a while, a damn while, a long few months of radio silence. Almost so long it's awkward to come back on here and write this, to speak it, but also not so awkward because my dad keeps asking me when the next Scrappy Kitchen will be out, so I'm doing this for him. Question number 1. Does anyone know any immigration lawyers for the UK? We've had a setback, or I kind of want to call it a switchback. Like we're climbing up a mountain pass and it's just too steep to go straight up, so zigzagging. At times it feels like there's no end or reason to the hairpin turns, but eventually, when you crest the hill, when you break through the clouds, you'll see that you have climbed. You'll see what you have climbed. Anyways, we've had a switchback. My partner and I do not meet the financial requirements for a family visa, and it's as simple as that. I've been joking that we just can't read, and somehow misconstrued the minimum cash saving requirement, but really it's purposefully vague. Obtuse, in fact. To be allowed into a country, you need to prove that our combined income will be £29,000 a year, which honestly was, actually by pure coincidence, the amount we were planning on earning in our second year, but certainly not in our first. And yes, we have some cash savings, but not enough to make up for £29,000 a year for 3 years. I mean, honestly, who has that? So, now we need proof. More than a business plan, more than our bank accounts and texts going back several years so that they can prove we're in fact a real couple. And honestly, we need advice. The plan is as follows. Submit a business plan, get a land agreement, set up a UK LLC, get a lawyer to look it over, get any extra paperwork, apply for visa, get visa, move everything we own to the UK, find a flat, get driver's licenses, farm. Easy. It's certainly not happening before November. Oh, and at the same time keep the current farm running and set them up for the transition of us leaving, like no big deal. So I ask again, does anyone know an immigration lawyer? Current farm updates. We are in fruit season. In one day, we managed to harvest 240 pints of cherry tomatoes and a total of 600 pounds of tomatoes. In one day. That's not to mention aubergine and peppers pumping out fruit like nobody's business. And every day we work at some form of harvest, which is wonderful, abundant, exhausting. As I write this, we're entering week 35 of the year, and it's wild that we're that far into 2024. Within the plan that we made last year, which details the crops we plant, when, where, how many, the predicted harvests, etc., we're looking to finish planting everything by week 36. That's next week. That means the final round of Asian greens is already started. The onion seeds we collected last week are going to be germ tested and used for green onion seedlings. And it means everything in the ground has to just last a couple more months. This time of the year is also a really great one for seed saving. Over the season, we have been leaving little painter's tape notes on which plants are looking the best of the tomatoes, like which fruit is the earliest, which are standing up to disease. And over the next week, I'll be selecting fruits from the hardiest plants. I'll also be looking for fruits that are the right size and shape and colour to maintain this distinct varieties within each tomato. Then I'll be fermenting the seeds in their own juices for a few days to imitate the digestion process. Then comes washing and drying. And easy as that, you've saved tomato seeds. For farmers who are teetering on the edge of burnout this time of year, which is like vibes, the idea of saving seed can seem just like another thing to do. Another an unending task, but the reward far outshines the work of it. The tomato seeds we saved last year have produced the strongest plants this year. They were earlier to fruit and seem to hold up better to our methods of trellising. And by saving seeds, we're literally selecting plants that do best in our farm conditions. The loss of saving seeds, or at least the knowledge of it, is relatively new. Only in the past 100 years have farmers stopped selecting their own best plants. Sometimes it has been made out to be too difficult, time-wise or expertise-wise, but that is a straight-up lie. After spending months with these plants, the farmer knows them better than anyone else. Who better to pick the best ones? The only barrier is knowing how. I am actually trying to teach some courses at the local library on how to save seeds. We got one guy last time, so that's pretty exciting. Hopefully this time we'll get two. Anyway, I digress. It's just one of the small tasks in making the farm a little bit more self-contained. But mostly at this point in the season, we're reaping the benefits of our hard work and keeping the plants alive for a couple more months. Oh, and itching to harvest winter squash. Winter squash is a tricky one to harvest. In places that frost earlier, like where we trained in Colorado, the first frost is used to kill off the plants, and the squash are then harvested, usually in one day, and left to cure over several months. The curing process is seen as their stem turns from green to woody brown. And then inside the squash, other changes are taking place. The flesh becomes like a darker orange, and the Brix reading increases over time as the natural sugars build up. Curing helps winter squash be stored for long periods of time, and boy, am I ready for winter squash recipes, the most autumnal of flavors. But first, the plants must die back, and the harvested squash must cure, and once again, farming is patience. Future farm updates. This is the real reason for my absence, for my literally 2 months of not writing a newsletter. My partner Zach and I have completed our 40-plus page business plan for our farm. It has a name, it has a shape of an actual business, it has countless spreadsheets, 9 per location we're tailoring it to, I shit you not, and it has heft and pictures, and it has consumed us. But currently, it is being looked over before we send it off. We'll send it off through the Southwest Land Match scheme run by the Land Workers Alliance to one of the lands on offer there, along with our CVs and a cover letter and any references we have. It's a hopeful hurry up and wait kind of time. Aside from the gut punch switchback of the visa process, which we're in surprisingly good shape to actually begin proposing our business to people, which is a nice place to be, finally. We actually set ourselves a deadline for the business plan to be finished the week before we went up north and managed to get it done in that time. So now comes the adapting. Each of the other sites available we're applying to has different markets, different potential customers, different ways to sell, and varying site details. Once our initial plan gets the okay, we're going to jump on adapting it to the 4 other sites that we're interested in. It's a very hopeful, heart in throat kind of time. Thanks for sticking with it. I do actually mean it about the lawyer. I will see you next time. Bye.